and welcome to Mono. As usual, we'll be hearing from Itai later in the programme, but first, since their arrival on our streets, they've been seen as weird, funny, suspicious, even a cult. But they represent a true fusion of cultures in Ireland in terms of philosophy, spirituality, dress, and even food. Behind the facade of one of the many Dublin restaurants boasting ethnic cuisine lies something a little different. Govinda's restaurant offering food for the soul. Set up by Irish devotees of the Hare Krishna movement, the faith known as the kitchen religion, Govinda's offers Indian food to anyone with a taste for it. But it also plays another role. It is the hub of the Hare Krishna community in Ireland.
It's a present for us in the sense that anybody who wants to contact the Hare Krishnas knows that, well, they have a restaurant there in Angel Street, so they can come and, well, they can just come and have a meal, and that's all. They don't have to do anything else. But if they do want to find out more about the Hare Krishna movement, they can ask us when they come. That's one function. Another function is that it generates some income, because our ideal is to actually get a temple in Dublin someday. And then another thing it does, of course, is it employs some of our members, gives some of our members employment, so they're able to, be employed within their own community and, look after their families, etc. And then we do some courses from here, cooking courses, etc. at the weekends, that type of thing, The actual name Govinda's means the protector of the cows. So anybody that comes in here, if they know Sanskrit and know what Govindas would mean, they would know that the cow is actually protected. And one of the main principles that we follow would be vegetarianism. The idea is that we don't slaughter animals unnecessarily. And as you can see from what we're eating, yes, that vegetarian food is very varied and contains all the proteins and vitamins that we need. And therefore there's no need. Killing the animal is actually unnecessary.
When we're preparing the food, we're not tasting, we're thinking in a consciousness that we're going to offer it back to God. So we just take whatever is left then. So we would cook the food without tasting in a devotional way, and then we have a small ceremony where we put the food on a plate and offer it back to God, and then we take what's left. So it's spiritualized in that way.
So actually everything that's served out to the customers is spiritual food?
Yeah, they don't know everything spiritual food. You don't have to know, but it tastes very good anyway, so that's why they come.
Govinda's is frequented by a diverse clientele, each looking for something different. Leena Shaha, a Hindu woman of Indian origin, is not a Hare Krishna devotee, and yet the restaurant plays a pivotal role maintaining her links with her culture. So Leena, what brings you here into Govinda's restaurant?
Well, the fact that it is a purely vegetarian restaurant. Now, during our religious functions, we need to offer food that's purely vegetarian, and we also take purely vegetarian food. And there are no other Indian restaurants here that serve this kind of purely vegetarian food here in Ireland.
Even amongst all the Indian restaurants that we find in Ireland, you don't find what you need?
No, because they would use onions and garlic in their cooking. But we can't use onions and garlic in purely vegetarian cooking.
Tell me now, to look at the two of you, you're both wearing saris, you're both wearing bindis, you look like you come from the same culture. Is Hare Krishna and Indian culture the same thing?
Well, Hare Krishna is, yeah, it is the same. I mean, I think everyone in India who is a Hindu believes in Lord Krishna. It's only to what degree that they follow his movement, but everyone would be worshipping him in their homes and having him on their altars at home. I do. I have a little statue of Lord Krishna.
They would also have the same beliefs as us, as Leena said. Lord Krishna, is central. For us, he would be the topmost. So maybe that might be a little bit different.
Yeah, different. It's
different
like,
gods would be worshipped by different Hindu people, but we would see Lord Krishna as the topmost.
And is it important to you, Leena, your children who are being raised in Ireland now, is it important that they have access to aspects of Indian culture?
Oh yes, I think it's very important. They should know from where they've come, their roots, that's very, very important.
And do you think there's a role for the Hare Krishna movement there for you?
Yes, I think so.
And do you mind that other Indians who aren't followers of Hare Krishna or Krishna specifically come and use the facilities?
No, not at all. No, it's very nice to have Indian people because they appreciate very much where we're coming from and what we're trying to do. So, not at all. No, it enhances everything.
So the tradition of Hare Krishna actually originates from India,
Yeah, that's right.
and the culture that you follow is Indian culture?
Well, the culture that we follow is known as Vedic culture. The word Vedic just comes from the word Veda, and the word Veda means knowledge, just simply means knowledge. So again, that if you like, originated from India, but it's not Indian. Knowledge is the universal knowledge, and it has two main categories, which would be spiritual knowledge and then material knowledge, and it covers literally everything from, you know, from sport to medicine, you know, literature, science, astrology, all areas of knowledge are covered within the Vedas.
The dress that Hare Krishnas wear, it's not just simple Western dress or simple any dress, it's specifically Indian dress. What's the importance of that?
Actually, it really isn't that important. And you'll find many Hare Krishnas who will wear Western dress. But the real thing is that if someone wants to know something about the Hare Krishna way of life, it's handy if some of us wear a dress that they can identify, oh, they're Hare Krishnas, you know. The reason why it's Indian, again, is because the Vedic culture, which again isn't Indian, but it did sort of take birth, if you like, in India.
When the Hare Krishnas arrived in Ireland, little was known about their spiritual beliefs. Chanting is often seen and heard on the street, and that's what first caught the eye of the Irish public. Do you remember when they first came to Ireland?
Yeah, they used to be marching around with the drums and stuff like that, banging and collecting them with the cymbals and
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't really know a lot about them now, as you come to mention it.
Do you remember what you first thought of them the first time you saw them?
I thought they were weirdos, obviously.
How as far as I know, what they believe in is that
What do you remember about them?
just their music,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Why is it important to come out onto the street?
The point is for the holy name to go and mix among the people, and it elevates them. It doesn't matter what religion or creed they are, it helps elevate the consciousness of people towards God.
The Hare Krishna movement is a true case of interculturalism, a dynamic fusion between very different worldviews. In the West, it's only 38 years old, yet ideals of Indian culture, such as food and dress, have been embraced. But it's the way Westerners have taken on the philosophy that itself has had a real impact on Indians here. The Hare Krishna temple is on Innisrath Island in Lough Erne in Fermanagh and was bought in 1984. It can only be reached by barge, but this does not deter members. Rather, its tranquility is a magnet to both Irish devotees and Indians drawn to Ireland by the technological boom. One of these is 27-year-old Samesh Kumar. Brought up in a Hindu household with strong spiritual beliefs, when he arrived in Ireland over 3 years ago, he felt lost without any Hindu temple.
I was looking for the temple here in Ireland when I came 3.5 years back. I was missing something because in India, when I was in India, I used to go to temples. It's a very nice atmosphere in the temple. So I wanted that atmosphere to come. I wanted that environment. And I did a search in the internet. And it came about the island of Govinda. So then I made up my mind that I'll come over here.
What was it like the first time you arrived here?
It was really great. It was amazing to see this place. Like, it's just such a beautiful place. You can see it's so nice, beautiful. Lots of peacocks here.
And a lot of the people here who are part of the temple and the Hare Krishna community here wouldn't have been born or raised with Vedic culture.
Exactly, yeah. It's a very surprising thing to see. See the people here so much attracted to Indian culture. It's just amazing.
Shoes are taken off before entering the temple so that the temple room is not contaminated. Within the Hare Krishna faith, feet are treated with great respect. There's an understanding that karma is transferred by touching somebody's feet. Is the temple setup here familiar to you in terms of what you would have been used to in India?
Yeah, it is. It is familiar. The deities are dressed up nicely, and then different dresses are given to the deities, and then there's a level of worship there.
Smita Satish came to Ireland last July following her husband, who moved here 3 years ago to work in Ericsson in Athlone. Smita was raised Hindu. When she arrived in the Hare Krishna temple in Ireland, she came face to face with her culture, but practiced by Irish people.
Well, I'm making malpura.
Malpura?
This, yeah.
Okay.
It's a sweet dish.
I'm not actually familiar with malpura.
Even I am also not familiar. I'm just taking guidance from Prabhuji and from this book.
Okay.
It's all the steps are written over here.
Yes.
I'm just following it.
Tell me what it was like when you first came to the temple.
When I first came to the temple, it was like early morning. I went to the hall and I sat there. So everybody was like singing songs of Lord Krishna, and they are dancing. And also when I seen that, so it was like different.
The dancing?
Yeah, not dancing exactly, but the people, the devotees. It was my first time in seeing an Irish people.
When you first came here, did you come? I see you're wearing a sari. I'm wearing a sari today.
Yeah.
Did you come wearing a sari?
No. Last time I was wearing not a sari, but just dresses we are here in Ireland.
What were you wearing?
Because I was wearing a skirt and a sweater. So today, after seeing everybody wearing sari, so definitely I plan to wear a sari today.
What was it like for you when you first arrived here in your skirt and sweater?
I was feeling odd one. So I was feeling like I'm being an Indian, I should wear sari. So it was like, oh God.
It seems, Smita, that coming here, being encouraged more to wear your sari, to learn how to make different Indian things, it seems like it's bringing you closer to your own culture.
After coming here, definitely I'm getting more to my own culture. So it's good, like being in a touch. So that it's good. Whenever like we go to India, we don't feel like we have no Indian culture.
Having embraced Indian philosophy and spirituality, Irish devotees welcome the input of the new Indian community.
For us, it's a very good thing that the Indian community come, because they're our natural supporters in that sense. And they also give a certain credibility, like people understand, oh, this is a very ancient tradition, a very ancient culture, very ancient principles, etc. This is not some newfangled religion or newfangled idea that someone's dreamed up.
As part of the celebrations in the temple, there's a quiz on the Ramayana, one of the books that is important to the Hare Krishnas but central to broader Hinduism. The knowledge of the Indian devotees is pitched against their Irish counterparts.
Okay, so first question for the Bengali Tigers. How did Ravan get his celestial Pushpaka chariot? You can consult.
Maybe they want
Do you want multiple choices?
Yes, please.
The three options are: A, he got it from his brother Kuvera. Option B is he stole it from his brother Kuvera. And option C is he stole it from his brother Kumbhakarna.
So we'll give it a try. What is it?
This is a tough one, I can see. The questions that they're asking are quite tough, actually. They're not. Would they have been anything that you had learned in school growing up?
Yeah, little bit of like almost everything was there, but we haven't ever took any interest. Just learned the Ramayana, but don't know the details of who was the character played. It's very tough to remember.
Yeah.
So how many verses are actually, Sanskrit verses, are actually in the Ramayana?
You seem to remember a few more details, Satish.
That's from the Ramayana TV serial.
There was a TV series about the Ramayana in India.
Yeah.
It was huge. I remember it was really big. Shops would close down to watch it.
Yeah, usually on Sunday, every Sunday week, so yeah.
How old was Lord Ram when he was banished to the forest? Wrong. So it is a chance for the Bengali Tigers to get back in the frame. So, Samesh?
Yes, I'm not ready. it, but it's from today's class, so I think 27.
27 is right. Very good. Haribol. So there's 2 points.
It's very enjoyable because finally what you have to do is chant, dance, and have nice prasadam. There's so many nice new friends which I've got.
Right.
Amazing friends who have the same interests as me.
I feel like being a living being, I should not eat another living being. So after coming here and after having so much of discussion about all these things, so it really came to our mind that we should stop. We were not eating beef, mutton or anything from childhood itself. So we were like chicken and seafood. So after that, I and my husband stopped eating chicken. And we carry on seafood, fishes and all. Now he stopped everything. And I am sticking on prawn.
And has your experience of the ISKCON temple here influenced that decision?
Oh, definitely. Definitely it had a good experience.
When you see other people being very dedicated to Indian culture, does it make you feel more proud of being an Indian or, you know, a little worse for not having kept it up?
Well, I can say feel disappointed to myself that I'm not aware much of my Vedic culture as such. I see these people, they know more compared to me. So it's a sort of disappointment to me.
If you were staying in Ireland and having a family in Ireland, children, how important would it be for you that they can see aspects of Indian culture?
I would definitely want them to come here and join in every function so that they have a knowledge of the Indian culture, especially they should be very spiritual. At least by living here, hardly we get to see some temple like this. So it's the only temple. So at least if they are coming over here and engaging in every activities, then it is well and good.
And would you ever like to give up all material things and come live in a temple like this?
Like, I'm trying my best.
I'm not sure. I won't do that. Hopefully.
So are we having marital conflict?
No, not at all. Because till the time we both decide, then only we will go further. Like, we both are trying our best, but it is very difficult to leave the material thing and come seriously and adopting the ISKCON. It's very difficult.
I never expected this, that I'll find this over here. So now my interest in spirituality has increased. Seeing the devotion and the dedication of the people who are involved here. Some of them have totally dedicated their whole life for doing this. So it's just amazing. If the people who were not born really in this Vedic culture are dedicating their whole lives for it. So we who are from childhood, we know something about it. So I just felt that at least I should have some kind of involvement.
And now, the election is the topic on everybody's lips this week. Itai Breri reports on how you can have your say and on other news from around the country.
The electronic voting track is traveling the country to enable people to understand the new process and to encourage people to vote.
The 24th of May is the last date you can register to vote in the June elections. If you're a non-EU citizen, you can vote in the local elections. And if you're an European citizen, you can vote in the European and local elections. They have even made it easier for you.
I've been living here for 10 years, and I think it's good to express your voice. And if you feel strongly about something like health, education, community issues.
However, the two forms of identification issued by the Department of Justice to asylum seekers and refugees state at the back that they are not legal forms of ID. So how do these people get on the electoral register? It is a problem that has not been addressed and could leave potential voters disenfranchised.
One of the basic rights of a citizen in a democratic country is to exercise his voting rights, to participate in election as a voter and maybe as a candidate. What refugees and asylum seekers would like to do is just to exercise the basic democratic rights to go to vote, and that's it.
Since making that report 2 days ago, the Department of the Environment has announced that it will now accept both the temporary residence certificate and the Garda National Immigration Bureau card as a means of enabling asylum seekers to vote.
Has the experience of Africans who've come to live in Ireland been positive enough to make them want to stay? A seminar being held here tonight in Trinity discusses the results of a survey that found the answers.
182 Africans from 17 different countries who now live in the Greater Dublin area were surveyed. The answers reveal that 66% want to stay in Ireland. The majority who migrate here are young people, and that leaving their home country does not mean losing their African identity.
82% say that they want to be called an African man rather than a black man or any other form of identity. And that is not a contradiction. There's no contradiction between wanting to be identified as an African man and wanting to live elsewhere. Because the desire to live elsewhere and make elsewhere a home does not preclude participation in the home country. Migrants these days hardly conceptualize their immigration project in terms of a permanent stay, whether in the adopted country or in their home country. They were actually having in mind a form of transnational existence, the ability to live in many worlds and be part of them simultaneously.
Okeremute Okerega is taking part in the seminar tonight. She feels more needs to be done to raise awareness and understanding of African culture in order to improve the situation for Africans who have made Ireland their home.
If you see the African culture, it has to do with family, extended families. It's very important with every African person. So if families are reunited, really, it will do a lot of good.
And in terms of the cultural differences, do they come up at all?
Yes, they do, in a lot of areas, especially when we talk about bringing up children. Presently, social workers are having problems with the mode of discipline being used by African parents in relation to their children, and this has resulted in a lot of children being taken into care, and social workers not really knowing how to handle this issue. What I really think in relation to this is just a little bit of understanding.
The survey revealed that the majority of migrants didn't move because of the attraction of Ireland, but because of circumstances in the country they were leaving behind.
The percentage that said they definitely are not interested in making Ireland their new home was quite small, which was about 10% or thereabout. There's always the possibility that some people relocate. They are not necessarily saying, I'm going back to Namibia or Kenya or Ghana or wherever they are from, but rather they were making the point that they will seek some other alternatives, and those alternatives are many.
Next week on Mono, we meet Claudia Certa, who grew up under the communist regime in Romania. She returns to bring her parents to Ireland to show them the country she has made her home.
I'm nervous about how they're going to feel about my home here in Ireland, and I would really love to see them satisfied.